Hello, welcome to this video. I'm trying to figure out how to best light myself. I feel like everything in this environment that I'm in pulls quite cool, but at the same time, just using a window, so it's like I don't really have that much control. It is what it is. In this video, I have the new Rare Beauty powder highlighter in the shade Enlighten. So here it is. This shade is the lightest shade, and there's 4 shades in the line, and I always get really tempted to get the rosier colored highlighter because I love like a slightly pinky highlighter. However, every time I do that, I end up putting it on and thinking, this is a little too dark for me. I should have just gone for like the boring, the lightest shade, which is always like a champagne. So I went safe and grabbed Enlighten. And in any case, this retails for $25, and I just went on Sephora to like double check my details and whatnot, and it has incredibly high ratings and is sold out of 3 of the 4 colors. So I was pretty surprised to see that. That being said, I feel like Rare Beauty launches are pretty exciting. I've tuned into most of them because I'm quite enamored by the brand, so I'm helping the hype. This product is very, very expensive for what you get, I think. At $25, it fits in the Rare Beauty price zone of like, well-defined Sephora range, but not luxury, not break the bank. However, you only get 2.8 grams of product, which is exceedingly little. I'm not really someone who goes through powder products, let alone highlighters, so in a sense, maybe it doesn't really matter, but from the price to the amount you get, this becomes even more expensive than like many luxury highlighters out there. So that's not ideal, and maybe you can think, oh, like maybe not all the money is going into the amount of product you get, but it'll show up in the packaging, because really I feel like the packaging is generally what's most expensive about creating makeup products, but this packaging is really nothing to write home about. It is pretty in line with their Stay Vulnerable cream blushes, not the liquid ones, but the little cream ones in a little plastic pot like this, pretty much. It's clean, it's sleek, it's very functional, but there's nothing like special feeling about this by any means. Upon initial look, I was instantly reminded of the Kaja Mochi highlighters, and this is not that. Those have like a very putty texture. This is more of just like a baked powder, just plain old powder. It comes off pretty intensely, as you can see. It's got quite the sheen, and it blends itself out really nicely, but when you first kind of swatch it, it's pretty intense. There you go. And then you really have to, this is one of those highlighters that you have to really buff and build in, as opposed to like slowly tapping and building up, I would be very careful and use a small fluffy brush with this product to pick up just a very light amount, and then you can get like a nice glassy thin look. But in my experience, it's been very easy to tap in just like a little too heavy and then have a pretty intense highlight. You can definitely work and blend and buff it in, and it'll look good, but it'll look like a pretty intense highlight. So if that's not necessarily what you want, you have to go in with a very light touch. I think that this highlighter actually is a little bit light for me in my taste. I think that if you are any deeper than my skin tone, it might feel icy on you, especially when I pick up a little too much on my brush. It looks a little bright. It looks a little too much, a little icy on my face, and I would consider myself fair to light already. That being said, it does definitely buff in pretty well into like a nice seamless look, and I find that this highlighter wears itself in really nicely, where when I first put it on, I can kind of see like some metallic flecks. I feel like it's a lot of highlighter, but after like a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes of having like finished my full face, I look at it and it just has a really, really nice, thin, glassy reflection look to it. I think what makes this kind of stand out a little bit, and maybe this is why people like it so much, is that the formula is super, super thin and it has like a really nice effect when you buff it in. It definitely gives that wet look shine to the cheeks, in my opinion, and at least on me, I feel like it doesn't emphasize texture at all. It definitely, like, I'm able to buff and buff and buff away at my skin with a brush without it like picking up on dry patches or emphasizing pores or looking weird around bumps, and that's pretty worthwhile. It doesn't look like powdery at all the more I buff it in, so definitely, yeah, that's definitely a big step with this highlighter in particular. So I'm wearing a cream blush, but it doesn't have any like sheen to it. It's just like a pure cream color. So all of the like extra shine you see is definitely from this highlighter in particular. I think it looks nice, but I think it's worth mentioning that I'm not really a highlighter person in particular, especially not powder highlighter. I think I'm definitely more of a liquid highlighter gal if I am reaching for it. So all in all, I'm not super blown away. It does look and feel nice. I feel like it does everything that I want a powder highlighter to do. I just feel like there's a lot on the market right now, and I'm not exactly sure if what this does really sets itself apart from other good powder highlighters. So that's my 2 cents. I don't think I would go out of my way to recommend this and insist like, oh, you really got to try this, but it is lovely to use. I have enjoyed trying out this formulation. I'm a little bit surprised by how bright it is, and for the shade Enlighten, I would definitely recommend for fair skin tones. And if you're my tone or deeper, you could probably start to check out some of the other shades in her collection, unless you want something that's like really, really bright. I hope this was helpful. I'm very curious about your thoughts if you're like a real highlighter person. That's all I have for today, and thanks for watching.